Hi guys, today we're going to do a little bit with slope review. So this will probably be the only one out of these set of videos that's going to be on just the regular graphic organizers. The ones after this, we're going to be using the ones that have the graphs on them, so you'll be getting those this week. So we're going to start by filling in the middle piece. So this is going to be slope review concepts. Now, we're going to do a little bit of everything with slope. There are lots of ways to calculate it, and we're going to work on that today, just to get those back in the front of your mind. So first of all, let's talk about some big ideas. When I talk about big ideas, when you talk about slope, most of the time in most of the formulas we've used the letter M. So to find slope, there's many ways to do it. We can find it by doing rise over run if we have a graph. We can say it's the change in y over the change in x. Or we can subtract our x values and our y values in a fraction form to get them. So let's go over just a couple of how to find slope again from 2 points. So I'm just going to call this A here. So we're going to say find the slope. And I have 2 points, 16.1 and 17.7. Now, I'll be honest, 99% of the time when I try to find slope, I like to use change in y over change in x. So I like to use the arrows too. It kind of helps me get things in the right order. So if I look at my y values, it would be 7 minus 1, because if we're looking for how it changes, then we're going to have to look at the fact it's got to be subtraction. Then we have to do the x ones. Remember, it has to be in the same order. It has to start from the same point. So if you started here for y, you got to start here for x. So 17 minus 16. So 7 minus 1 is 6. 17 minus 16 is 1. And 6 over 1 simplifies to 6. Remember, anytime you get a fraction, just like we did with other things, you're going to want to put it in Desmos. See if you can reduce it if you can. Okay, let's go to our next one. So B, we're going to do another one where we find the slope. And let's see, I have 18, 14 as 1 point and 16, 9 for the other. So to find my slope, I'm going to do change in y over change in x. So 9 minus 14, 16 minus 8. Now, big clue should be 1 point should be lined up. The other point should be lined up. Just make sure you're getting things lined up the right way. So 9 minus 14 is 5. 16 minus 8 is 8. And if I put negative 5 over 8 in Desmos, it's not going to reduce anymore. So that's going to be my final answer. Okay, now let's change gears again. Let's talk about a few more big ideas. So if we start to talk about formulas with slope, one of the ones you see a lot is slope-intercept form. And that looks like this, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, and this b value right here is going to be the y-intercept. It is also important to know that if it is the y-intercept, the point's going to be 0b. So if b happened to be 1, it'd be 0, 1 would be the point where that would happen. So let's talk a little bit about how to use this. So I'm going to give you some equations, and we're going to talk about how to identify slope and the y-intercept. And we're going to have two equations. So C is going to be y equals negative 7x plus 4. D is going to be y equals x minus 5. So our m value would be this number right here, so negative 1, because remember, it's based on this equation every time. So you're trying to identify the slope and the intercept. Our b value here is positive 4, so it is the point 0.04. Now, to find my slope in the next one, there's no number here, so I assume that there's a 1 there. So my slope is 1. My b value in this one is negative 5, so it's 0, negative 5. Okay, let's move over to the back of this and talk about some more big ideas. So first of all, we are going to talk about another form called point-slope form. That's when you have a point, but the point you're given is not the y-intercept. It looks like this. Now they have some weird values right here. See how that x has a 1 with it and the y has a 1 with it? So x sub 1, y sub 1 is just going to be a point they give you. The little ones are just to let you know that it happens to be the x value with the 1 point they gave you and the y value with the 1 point they gave you. They are also going to give you the m value, which is the slope to plug in. So that's part of where we're going. Okay, so first of all, some big ideas when it comes to point slope. You have a point that they give you that is not the y-intercept. Okay, once you plug in the values, most of the time you need, to resolve to make it y equals. And you'll see a couple of them. We're going to do maybe 2 examples here just so you have a couple to look at and use. Okay, so let me give you one. Usually what they'll say is they'll just say write an equation. With a slope of 4 and the point 86. So if I were to look at that, this would be x sub 1 and that would be y sub 1. Because it's the x and the y and the point they've given you. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to write out my general equation and I'm going to start drawing some arrows so I know where things are getting plugged in. So m is going to go here. X sub 1 is going to go there. And y sub 1 is going to go there. So it's going to be y minus 6 equals 4. X minus 8. Now that is an equation, but most of the time we said it's got to be in y equals form. So that means I'm going to have to do a little solving. So I'm going to distribute this 4 to both values to get rid of those parentheses. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. I have y minus 6. Now, to get it in y equals form, the only thing left to do is to move this 6. So the opposite of subtracting 6 is adding 6. So y equals 4x x minus 26. Okay, now this equation right here is in slope-intercept form. If they just say write any equation, you can stop there. So you just have to make sure of what kind they need. Okay, let's look at one more. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to call this f. We're going to say write an equation with a slope value of 4 over 5 and the point of negative 8 and 4. So this is my x sub 1 and y sub 1. I'm going to get my equation part here ready to go. So this is going to go in for m. Negative 8 is going to go in there. And 4 is going to go in there. So y minus 4 equals 4 over 5, x minus a negative 8. So for the first piece, 2 negatives make a positive. So it starts to look like this. Now, if I want to be able to get this in the right form, I'm going to have to distribute this. So 4 over 5 times x is 4 over 5x. 4 over 5 times 8 is 32 over 5. And again, put it right in Desmos. This plus that, or this times this. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Now, the only thing I would have to do to get y alone is to add 4. So y equals 4/5 x. And then if I add 32 over 5 plus 4, I end up with 52 over 5. Again, put it right in Desmos. Don't even worry about it. Okay, we're going to keep working on this as we practice in class.